Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of GeekVerse Thought Bubbles. It's been a while, and it's kind of strange. My name is Travis. I'm from GeekVerse. I was going to be talking about superhero news in like a week when I record the newest superhero news roundup, but I could not wait because, man, we got some fucking great news, we got some fucking weird news, and we got some fucking news I'm not too thrilled about, and we're going to talk about all of it right now. Let's just get down to the nitty-gritty. So, I was on my phone, I was actually playing Gwent. Good old Gwent from The Witcher. Great game. I love it. I actually forfeited a match to come talk about this because my lady and baby were asleep, had nothing to do, look at the phone, and then I see this fucking story. And I wouldn't have believed the story anywhere else. And it's just news that comes out every once in a while that's like, see this? Martin Scorsese to produce a Joker origin film. I go, no. This is one of these things that, like, I'm going to click, I'm going to see, like, it's just going to be some website we have no idea, I've never heard of, or just someone that's, I was not expecting that. I'm going to cut to the chase. I was not expecting anything to come from this. So the second I click on the story, it's fucking Deadline. So Deadline, along with Variety, I say Deadline, Variety, and the Hollywood Reporter are probably your three most trustworthy kind of news scooping exclusive sites. I think the Wrap is up there too at times, but those are the three. So you see the Joker origin film produced by Martin Scorsese. I don't believe it. I click, oh, Deadline. I click and I begin to read this. So I'm going to read the story specifically from the article so I can give you a rundown of everything that's happened, and then I'm going to go bit by bit because there's three things I want to hit upon. There's going to be more than that maybe, but three main topics I want to hit upon here quickly because this is very strange. So let's just go Deadline. Title is Joker Origin Story on Deck. Todd Phillips, Scott Silver, Martin Scorsese aboard Warner Brothers and DC Film. Exclusive. I don't need a Stranger Things Season 2 ad. DC and Warner Brothers are in early stages of another Batman universe spin-off movie, which people that don't love Batman spin-off movies, you're gonna love that, right? All you get is fucking Batman. Hi Dylan, it's good to see you in the group chat, or the live chat. The origin story of the signature villain, the Joker. The studio set The Hangover's Todd Phillips to co-write a script with 8 Mile scribe Scott Silver, who's produced a lot of other things. We'll get into that in a second. Phillips will direct the movie. Martin Scorsese, who I believe is maybe the greatest director of all time. He's like tied for first. I have like Tarantino, him, and like Nolan's come up. I can't decide. He's one of my favorite directors. Will produce it with Phillips. This film will be the first film under a new banner that has yet to be named, in which Warner Brothers can expand the canon of DC properties and create unique storylines with different actors playing iconic characters. That's a huge fucking statement, which I'll put aside and talk about in a second. I'm told, this is not me, the reporter, I'm told the intention is to make an origin story that isn't part of any other iteration. The Joker has memorably been part of 2 Batman movies in the form of Jack Nicholson and Heath Ledger, most recently played by Jared Leto, who in this report, which this is the third topic, he will reprise his role in the Suicide Squad sequel and the Harley Quinn spin-off. But this film will launch a character with a different actor, possibly younger. An intriguing part is the setting. The intention is to make a gritty, grounded, hard-boiled crime film set in the early 80s of Gotham City that isn't meant to feel like any other DC movie, as much as one of Scorsese's films from that era, like A Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, King of Comedy. Yeah, I guess Joker, King Comedy, I could see that. I'm told Phillips and Silver are writing already, but there's nothing firm on where this will fit into the DC schedule. Phillips most recently directed War Dogs, which I did not see. I heard mixed things. I heard Jonah Hill's good. Silver's recent script credits include The Fighter as well as Stronger, the David Gordon Green directed Toronto-bound drama that stars Jake Gyllenhaal as Jeff Barman, whose lower legs were blown off near the finish line in Boston Marathon. It's like, I've heard of that movie. Okay, I've heard some good buzz about that movie. Phillips, yeah, I don't need all that. So let's talk about the very, very first thing. I think that's a great idea. I think that people have talked about this with Venom and Doctor Doom, and I hear a lot of, and I listen to a lot of podcasts, I hear a lot of podcasters and web personalities and whatnot say, oh, that's like doing a movie with Joker and no Batman. You know, I've heard that over and over, and the thing where Venom and Doom don't correlate is because Venom, you really need Spider-Man. You literally need Spider-Man for his story to get the symbiote. And even then, like, Venom is a cool character, but most of his best stories have been with Spider-Man, in my opinion. So there's that. Doom is a thing where, and it ties into the Venom thing, Doom is a character that you do need Reed Richards to an extent because he has that obsession with Reed Richards. But the biggest thing with Doctor Doom and Venom, we could debate that all day. Could it work without their hero? Could it not work? We've seen comics where it's worked. I know it's different, but it's possible. The biggest thing why I'm a bit more higher on the Doom thing, because I'm not a big Fantastic Four fan, but I love Doom. But with Venom, the biggest thing why I was like, I don't want a Venom solo movie, and maybe not even why a Doom solo movie, why it's risky, and why it's like, why are we starting here? Why are we kind of going backwards? We've not gotten a great iteration of those characters. I can't say that word today. A great iteration of those characters. Venom was a mess in Spider-Man 3. Doom has been a mess in both movies. So it's this thing of like, it feels like, oh, we're just going to give up on them being a villain and make them because they're a cool movie. We have Jack Nicholson, who was nominated for a Golden Globe, and people thought he was amazing. We have Mark Hamill, amazing voice talent. We have Heath Ledger, who won a fucking Academy Award. The only comic book character to be nominated and won a comic book, like superhero Marvel DC wise, to be nominated and won a comic book character, or won an Oscar. And people might say, oh, he passed away. He was going to win that regardless. Look at that fucking year. He had it in the bag. You had Jared Leto. We'll talk about that later. But you have these great versions of this character already. So it's this thing of like, we've already seen him with a great Keaton Batman. We've seen him with a great Bale Batman, a Kevin Conroy Batman. That's where people are like, it won't work. One, I think it's worth the risk now because we've seen many versions of the Joker as the villain. So let's play around with it. Like, let's try something new with the character. And two, I 100% disagree. I'm biased. He's tied with Batman as my favorite fictional character of all time. I 100% disagree that he does not deserve a solo movie. He is such an interesting, intriguing character that he can easily carry a film. His world, whether it's something with the Harley Quinn, which just doesn't sound like it would be, but he and his mind can easily carry a film because there's so many, there's so many different variations you could take with this character. Something like a Heath Ledger one, I could have still saw that as a solo movie. Something like Brian Azzarello's Joker. You know, Killing Joke does that well. There's Going Sane is another one that does that well. There's versions of the story you could tell, and to me, Venom is a very, very cool, at times one-note character. Doom, I like Doom, I love Doom, but I still think he does work better as like a villain. Joker, to me, there's so many different routes you can take this character. And especially with this, if you look at what they've talked about, an early mob setting with something like The Killing Joke. Look at The Killing Joke. He has ties to the mob. He gets mixed up in the mob. That is a movie, that's why I've never understood when people said you could never do a Joker origin movie. The Killing Joke is fucking set perfectly for that. I'm not saying you gotta adapt it page to page, you know, like the animated show should have done, or the movie, but you can take that story and spin that easily into an hour and a half, maybe even 2 hour film. And I'm not saying take out the Batman and Barbara Gordon stuff. Just the stuff that hit as him as a character. They may not even do this route, but they say something like Taxi Driver. That's very much of a person going insane and taking the law into their own hands. That's not saying the Joker's going to take his law into his own hands, but let's say the Joker is a normal guy. He gets mixed up in the mob. The mob kind of screws him. They're the one that makes him all fucked up and white and whatever. You know, like they throw him in the chemicals maybe. What a fun story of this guy going insane, hunting down the mob. And then at the end, it's kind of like, oh, maybe he's a hero, but no, he's just as bad as them. It's like Scarface. Look at Scarface. He starts as our hero. He is the protagonist the whole way through. But by the time you get to the end, like, you don't want him to die because you love Tony Montana and you love Al Pacino. But, like, he deserves to go. Like, he's a shit human being. Like, he's done a lot of bad things. So, I've never understood that. So, that's my feelings on it. Let me know how you feel about it. But I feel this could easily work. The talent is something that is very, very different. So, Martin Scorsese producing it. That's great. He is, I already blew him earlier. He's a masterful filmmaker. Made some of, if not the best films of the world. So, that's not only is it good to have someone like that, it's very intriguing to this could, okay, let's say he's not just doing, I'm gonna produce it, throw my name on it, I'll get some money and a credit, move along. If this is something he's interested in, as far as they pitched it to him, whether it's the writer and director or whether it's Warner Brothers, and he's like, yeah, I'd like to put my name on this. If this is something he's passionate about, that is what is very interesting about this, because he's not dabbled in comic book movies yet. He's one of these people that you kind of have a dream about. It's kind of, that's why lots of people love The Dark Knight, because it had almost like a Martin Scorsese mob feel at times. Like, this is something you dream about, like him or a Steven Spielberg or a well, lots of people want Nolan to come back, or like I mentioned earlier, a Tarantino or Darren Aronofsky. You know, when he was directing Wolverine, I think it was 2 at one point. People are like, oh my god, this would be amazing. Like, he's one of these high caliber talents and directors that you wish when me, Dylan, Kyle, whoever, Taylor, if we made a fan cast or they announced, hey, we're doing this movie, if we had our dream choice of directors, we'd pick. You know, there'd be this short list of people that we would pick because it would be fun, but we know it wouldn't happen. He's not directing this movie, but him producing is very intriguing and very exciting, and that gets me excited. Now, Todd Phillips, I'm going to IMDb him quickly, but I will do that as I'm talking. Todd Phillips is an interesting choice. I think this is going to get some. There'd be other people I would pick to do it, but that was my gut reaction. I saw it and I was like, ooh, Todd Phillips, like old school, The Hangover. There is some negatives, and I could understand that. And now, okay, let's see everything he's directed, because I want to see. So War Dogs, that's the other thing is too, War Dogs, they could have saw and say, hey, he could do something. I think the Joker origin story should be serious if it's going to be kind of Killing Joke-like, but you got to have some sort of fun, tongue-in-cheek sort of time with the Joker. You don't want him to. That was one of the things Suicide Squad. Jared Leto's not funny as a Joker. You know, maybe they tried that, but like, there's no joyfulness to it. Even Heath Ledger's, who's dark as fuck, who stabs someone in the eye with a pencil, has a little like giddiness to him. You know, so the War Dogs makes sense. Hangover, all the Hangovers. Due Date, Starsky and Hutch, Old School, Road Trip. So these are the things. The only way that I'm excited for this is just me looking at the positives, because there's more negatives, because this would not be my first choice. I'm actually going to see what else Silver has been. This would definitely not be my first choice at all, because I'd want someone a bit more experienced with drama, or maybe I had a dream list of, hey, this person could direct the Joker, like I was talking about before with Martin Scorsese. He would not be it. Here's where I'll try to be positive about it. Watch War Dogs to see because I heard that was a bit more of an action drama comedy sort of mix. So I would love to watch that and compare it to his other stuff. But the thing is, and this is just me being optimistic, is Adam McKay, before The Big Short, just did fucking comedies. I just watched the other guys last night. He did Anchorman. He did Step Brothers. You would have never thought with The Big Short, which The Big Short, I don't even, like, I like it a lot, but I'm not one of the people that thought should won Best Picture, or I was like, one of the best movies of the year. Like, it wasn't my top 10, but when I found out that was Adam McKay, which I knew beforehand, but as I'm watching him, like, there's Adam McKay sensibilities as far as some of the way characters talk and some of the humor, but that is very surprising as far as what he's put on the table before. Didn't think he could pull that out of himself, and that's what I mean, like, that was me being short-minded, but that's what happens a lot. If you have like a drama director going to comedy or vice versa, you kind of go, oh, I don't know, this will work. They're so used to this. We've seen it happen many times, and we've also seen it fail many times. So I'm open to it, and I'll tell you why, a bit more why I'm open to in a second, but there is a chance that this could be his turn, his moment, and to me, if Scorsese is producing it in a way that's not, hey, just put my name on here and give me some money, if he's actually interested in it, that is what makes me excited, because that makes me believe that hopefully he has some faith in Todd Phillips, and if Martin Scorsese has faith in somebody, I'm gonna have faith in somebody. So those are like my silver linings as far as it goes. So the whole movie overall so that was part one, just this Joker origin story. That has me very interested to see what they're gonna do. There's a good chance this movie doesn't ever fucking happen. Lots of stuff happens like that. Look at Venom, like, it took so long to actually happen. This could just be a pipe dream, but I think there's a chance that it could be if this report is true, and that'll go to my second point. Now, this is something I had because I caught on it more, like I thought about more as I reread the second time. Something people have been talking about, I think, for a long time, and I don't think everyone's in this camp. So another thing, like, same thing in the comments, let me know if you would be in this camp. Have this Marvel Cinematic Universe and this DCEU and everything's connected and these characters, have team ups and adventures together and yada yada yada, and something we've been dreaming for some people for years, some people while they're children like myself. Some people have yearned for the days of a Spider-Man or an X-Men where we're getting great solo venture movies and we don't gotta worry about tying into everything else. That was some people I did hear. I think it's a minority, but some people are like, man, I hope Shazam is not connected to the DCEU. It was connected and then like, oh, okay, but like, and I can see that. I want more stuff I want everything to be connected, to be honest. But then I want, what people have suggested before is, what if we do versions like we do in the comics, where you look at Batman right now. There is Batman in the comic books. There's like just the Batman series. There's All-Star Batman and Dark Knight Metal, which is like primarily Batman. I know there's other heroes, but those three, you got three, and many times you've had like maybe 3 to 4, 5 sometimes different comic book versions of a Batman or a Wolverine. And there's times where they do try to fit everything in continuity, and that's where it can get a little mucky. Why not, and this is something that's been done in the comics, and why not do it like this in the movies where, hey, this is the DCU's Joker, Jared Leto, okay? And let's just say Michael Pitt. I like Michael Pitt, so that's why I'm throwing him out. Michael Pitt gets cast in this young Joker version. And they just say, hey, this is a one-off story, it's by itself, it has nothing to do with the connection. You know these characters. You know Batman. You know Joker. If we just say, hey, this is a solo story. Because most mainstream are going to go see it anyways. And they can just go, oh, this is the Joker origin story and this fits. They could do that for fun. But the mainstream fans, the non-mainstream fans, and even mainstream fans are getting smart enough. One thing about the MCU, they did a lot to smarten them up as far as staying after credits and watching movies and knowing, oh, these all connect and these things go here and these things go here. And probably a lot of people learned the difference between a Marvel and a DC. They're picking up between the movies, between things like Facebook and Twitter, between if you watch or listen to podcasts, like, and same thing with us, like, people pick up these things now. It's not so, and yeah, you get your occasional, like, Jen Erso, is that Ray? You're gonna still have that. You're gonna have a lot of mainstream people be like, oh, who's this Joker? Is that the same as Jared Leto? Yada, yada, yada. But the good thing is with this Joker movie, don't go fucking make it $100 million. Make it like Deadpool, they did like 50, make this fucking $20 to $40 million. Make it so small, so those mainstream people, even if they don't show up, it doesn't even matter. You want those mainstream people 100%. But I'm saying if not everyone that showed up for Suicide Squad shows up for this, make it so you're not gonna feel lost. The biggest example of this, and I think they fell back assward into it, is Fox with X-Men. They're kind of doing that with, you look at the continuity from the original trilogy to First Class, didn't make any fucking sense. To the Wolverine Origins movie that tied in, that didn't make any fucking sense. To Deadpool, which could make sense, we'll see in Deadpool 2, maybe lose some time travel shit, but really they've just plucked Deadpool in the random thing. There's a different Colossus, there's the X-Mansion that maybe or maybe not has no X-Men people. Like, is this in the original trilogy? Is this after Days of Future Past? Who knows? Like, they tried to fix it with Days of Future Past, but that didn't happen. Like, there's 2 Calibans and Apocalypse and Logan that are clearly not the same person. Logan's another thing where it's like, hey, we kind of, are inspired by the old movies and we may reference some sort of events, but really this is its own story. I don't think they intended to do that. I don't think they said, you know what, we've made all these movies and all these trilogies and whatnot. We're going to make now movies that are solo and separate, and we don't need the other people to watch them. Like, they're their own separate sole spin-off movies. Like, something like DC Metal Knights in comics happening right now. Like, that's its own thing. It's its own continuity. Has nothing to do with All-Star Batman or Batman right now. It's just its own separate story. You don't need to know what's happening anywhere else except right there, right now, and it's singular. It's not going to connect. Joker's not going to have a fucking end credit scene with Batman at the end of the origin story. Fox did that accidentally with Deadpool. Deadpool's very, very much, to me, a solo movie of like, yeah, you have things that connect, but very loosely. Same thing as Logan. You don't see a bunch of the other X-Men. They refer to events, but you don't know if that is something that's been made up or something that did happen in the movies. And I honestly support this because we can get the best of both worlds as far as we can have our connected world over there, and we can have a solo venture over there. It's minor again too, but DC's already kind of done it with their TV universe. Like they've dabbled in that, and I think those shows are pretty successful. I know Flash is, and you look at they have 4 shows on CW. Black Lightning's premiering. Gotham's staying strong, and people have turned around and like that show. And I've watched the past few episodes. It's good. It's the same thing. We had a Superman on Supergirl and a Superman and Batman v Superman. I don't think it mattered. I don't think a lot of people got confused, and if they did, they probably still watched and just went, oh, okay, Superman's on the show, it's a different actor. People won't care. I've always wanted, there's 2 things I've always wanted for Batman, and it's either to do a Bond thing where it's just, we're just always an adventure, so it's like, let's say it's Ben Affleck right now, we're always an adventure for 3 movies, and then he checks out, and it's Idris Elba. I know he's supposed to be Bond, but let's say he's playing Batman now. And same thing, we're just going, he's doing separate stories, it doesn't have to connect to a bunch of stuff. Bond has done that seamlessly, easily, just of switching characters. They may keep an Alfred there or keep a Gordon, but really it's just, we're moving on. We're just telling Batman stories. Or I've always wanted the long Harry Potter thing of like, we've made a fucking 15 movie arc. That'll never happen, but I always want that where it's like, let's start with him as like day 1 as Batman and all the way to the very end and maybe set it for a Batman Beyond. That'd be my dream project for someone to do. But that's what I kind of want with these movies is I would love this. I think we can live in a world where we can have Jared Leto's Joker and someone else's Joker and it'd be completely different. Especially this Joker is going to be maybe not even Joker throughout the whole thing. It's going to be more of the origin story. Maybe he'll be half. Who knows? Maybe he becomes a Joker at the end. I think there's a lot of potential, and I think we're ready between, like I said, what Fox has accidentally done, and maybe now it's not an accident, though, when they're announcing shit like New Mutants and X-Men. If you're not planning to do the work of, hey, we're gonna make away that, the first class cast, Deadpool, and these New Mutants, we're gonna eventually find a way where they can all cross over. If they're not gonna do that, then don't fucking worry about the continuity. Who cares? Do New Mutants is just a fun spin-off movie that we have no idea. It's just an Elseworld or a What If in an X-Men world. That works. You can, if you want to connect them, sure, but like, if you're not going to do the work, why bother? And this is not even them not doing the work, it's just, hey, we may have a great idea, but that doesn't really fit in the DCEU, but someone could have said, well, look at maybe what Fox has done with Logan. No one really gives a fuck that that's not really set in the whole X-Men universe. Or they could have been, look at what we're doing with our goddamn TV. We have different characters, like we have... They pulled the plug on Batman, but for a while we had a Deathstroke and Arrow, and we were gonna have Deathstroke and Batman, and obviously they pulled the plug and didn't want to connect them. But I don't think it would have mattered. I don't think people would have been like, oh, the TV version, and then you're gonna fun and compare. It's kind of like a Shakespeare role, if someone's playing Macbeth, you see Macbeth played, you could see in one stage played by one guy and one city played by another guy. I'm 100% down for this because we've gotten to the peak of, or we're getting to the peak at least of the connected worlds. And I think it's good to just try something different, and that's, even then, they could even be looking at this with the Venom thing. Venom, they've been very touchy on if it is or isn't connected to the MCU, and they've said it's kind of like the Netflix things. Same thing with Daredevil and the Defenders. I would love them to connect. They're not really going to connect, and that, I think, has really shown that they can say, like, oh, yeah, it's a connection, but people are invested. People like these characters enough. You make a good Joker origin story, you can get questions up the yin-yang for the whole year of, like, is this connected, is it not, why didn't you choose, yeah. If the movie comes out and it's fucking great, no one cares. If Logan sucked, people would have nitpicked that and been like, oh, sure, probably because it wasn't connected, it was bad. A great movie rises all tides, and fans won't complain. Mainstream fans won't care. They'll just want to see a good movie. And like I said, I think it's the same way as Kevin Feige has done that with MCU of, comic book crossovers. That's how that happens, Like, look at Secret Empire happening right now. You read the solo issues, and as comic book fans, we're trained, you read the solo issues, and then you go to the crossovers. They did that with MCU. Hey, we got the solo movies, and then eventually you're going to go over and watch the Avengers, and you're going to know what's all happened. Now this is the training of, hey, Frank Miller's going to come back and do Dark Knight 3. It doesn't have anything to connect with anything. It's just his own solo thing. Maybe this is a way of training people to do that, Maybe Marvel one time goes, hey, we want to make a fucking Blade movie. We love Blade, but you know what? We don't know if a vampire hunter fits into the MCU Robert Downey world. Let's just make a Blade movie. Marvel, not saying anything, just say it's his own movie, it's his own thing. This could happen. That's maybe the next step of comics evolving in the sense of, because people might get tired of, and I've already heard something about fatigue. I think it's right now you can't claim that these movies are making so much bank, but maybe this avoids it, as the biggest thing with Logan is people said it felt different. A Joker origin story would be different. Doing solo spin-off movies would be different. So that's the thing of, now let's start, comic movies are the biggest I think they're ever going to be. Let's start dabbling. Let's start experimenting so people don't get bored. Logan was rated R. Hellboy's going to be rated R. Venom's going to be rated R. They have fucking Tom Hardy. Like I said, if they go get someone great for the Joker origin story and Martin Scorsese is directing, would you rather be like, well, it's not connected, so I don't want to see that movie? Or would you want to say, hey, I'm kind of curious, like, I'm down to see it. That's the thing I could. This movie could be shit. I'm not even, like, on the biggest, like, high on Todd Phillips directing it, but it's like, I want to see it because at the end of the day, if it's a bad movie, we'll get past it. We already had a bad Joker and we got past it, and we're getting more of them. But let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I see some people talking about live chat. I'll go there in a second once I finish these points and talk to. I see Greg, you're in there. That's Olander. Just don't do Hot Topic Joker for this one. I kind of agree. See, that's Olander says there is fatigue. You can say that, and maybe you feel that in other people, but like box office wise, there's not. They keep making money. You look at the top 10 summer box office, like Wonder Woman, 800 million passed this weekend. Spider-Man Homecoming killed it. I think it, it made, I think it's just above Spider-Man 3. Guardians Volume 2 did great. Like, there could be a fatigue, but Defenders is probably going to kill on Netflix. Like, money-wise, it's not. It's the same way as people a few years ago would talk about Transformers and hating it. There's finally a fatigue now, but they were still getting like 30 to 20% on Rotten Tomatoes. And people are still like, they're still making billions of dollars. So when there's a huge bomb that is, I've always said this, when there's a bomb that on Rotten Tomatoes is critically fresh, then I'll say, okay, fatigue setting in. Something like Fanforstic, that can happen because like there's bad word, critics were panning it. I'm saying something like a Logan, where it comes out, it has like a 93 on Rotten Tomatoes, and when it comes out, it's disappointing. It's one of the lowest of the series. There's not a fatigue right now. I could see maybe in 5 years something like action movies, westerns that happen, but I say superhero movies are going to become its own genre. I think they already are. And you look at Marvel, they're doing different things. Like, this is a heist movie. This is what was Winter Soldier? Like a conspiracy theory, like a political thriller. Avengers is your big team up. Or Black Panther's gonna be all Wakanda and like an adventure sort of movie. They're different. They're smartening up, and this is, I think, another thing for fatigue to smarten up to, is to change the way that's how comics survive, and that's how this can survive, is evolved. We could talk about the superhero fatigue thing, but I just don't see it. I think people pick and choose, but the thing is, let's say my mom doesn't go see this one. Maybe my dad does. And the next time my dad doesn't see that one, but my mom does. Like, they're picking and choosing, but a lot of people are still picking superhero movies. And you look at movies that are coming out that are bombing, something like The Dark Tower and Hitman's Bodyguard, which is not a bomb. It did better than expectations, but it's this thing of they're not, other than Fast and Furious, they're not big money earners anymore. Superhero movies are those big guns right now. So okay, so yeah, so that's what Landon in the live chat said. It's mainly himself. And like I said, that's grand. That can happen. I understand. Like I said, let's go to the live chat right now, and then I'll point out we'll talk about Jared Leto, because I always love talking about Jared Leto. The Batman Greg, one of our Patreon supporters, thank you very much. He supports us there, as you should. Throw us a little pocket change, you get some great content. Travis, you're right, fanboys don't care about people who are only in cinematic comic book followers will make a big fuss about continuity. That's what I think so too. My mom won't care. But people won't care, and I don't even think, I think we care a little bit, but like I said, if it was a great Joker movie, you'd put that caring aside right away. There's no fatigue for that social media BS. I think so, and I think that's a lot of people those are the same people that are like, oh, there's no original movies in Hollywood, people just see sequels and remakes. Get Out, Baby Driver, Girls Fucking Trip, that comedy I haven't seen yet, but apparently it's good, is making it's in the top 10 fucking box office for the summer. Like, original movies are being seen, and there's so many. You like comedy movies? There's like 6 a year. There's so many more original movies that people don't see. Like Nice Guys last year, great movie, no one goes out and sees it, and then they complain, we don't get no original content. It's out there. Like, I agree. Let's see, anything else? Yeah. Greg was pointing out some facts. Wonder Woman is Warner Brothers' #2 selling movie all time. There's not fatigue. Comic movie sales and TV sales are higher than they've ever been. Ratings are high. Yeah, I agree with everything. Like, that's the exact same way. Like, this is the time to strike. This is the time to experiment. You did your very early on with Spider-Man X-Men, you establish superhero movies, and then you establish this new way of a cinematic universe, establish this new way of different variations, you know? Now, let's talk about this other news. Jared Leto coming back for Suicide Squad 2 and Gotham City Sirens. If you love the DCU, if you love Suicide Squad, if you love Jared Leto's Joker, this is the time to tune out. Unless you're someone that's cool and can understand my opinion and not hate it. If you just like dislike a video or a podcast as they don't share the same opinions as you, never understood that. Like, I listen to podcasts and watch videos to see other people's opinions. If someone has my opinion, great, and I want to hear what they think about that. But I don't. If I hear someone say, "Well, I love Jared Leto's Joker," I can be like, I don't agree with you. But then I listen to, okay, why? I don't go, you know what? Here's the dislike button. Go fuck yourself. Like, that's what our show is about. That's what other people's show should be about. So, yeah, Jared Leto's Joker. You can go back to Suicide Squad review, our biggest episode of all time. I am not a fan of it. I do not like anything about it. So they did confirm that he is coming back for Squad 2 and Gotham City Sirens. Gotham City Sirens I take with a grain of salt because that's been very quiet, and who knows, I think that's just kind of a thing. But then again, if this is like back seat reporting or like scooping or exclusives, they could have heard something, so you never know. Squad 2 makes sense, but at the same way it doesn't. I almost wasn't expecting him to be in Squad 2, and that's just a personal thing. I don't really know why. I just expected, I didn't even know if Harley was going to be in it, but I just expected because he had such a minor role. My thing is, I think he will be the villain of Suicide Squad 2. I think they're going to do what they should have done with Suicide Squad 1. He's going to be an antagonist. He's going to be against a team. You can play up that Harley stuff, and maybe you can play up the right stuff with Harley as far as, like I said, he should be an abusive prick, a terrible person, because in the Suicide Squad movie, they're just in love. You know, they're just in love. They're crazy. There's no depth to why we love that relationship. Not love, but love as far as reading it. That's what Landon. So, yeah, see, Greg, I loved his Joker. His demeanor, his attitude, and Squad, closest thing to any animated Joker. See, I can respect that. I can disagree 100% with you, Greg, because I think it's like Jim Carrey's Riddler meets like an SNL sketch. I think it's like a parody of the Joker. I think it's writing, but I do think it's him because David Ayer did say, hey, a lot of stuff we had planned changed when Jared Leto signed. So that's a good thing. If you enjoy it, awesome for you that he's come back 2 times. For myself, I'm not a fan, and that's what Landon said. I hope he learns from his mistakes. Maybe. That's the thing, it's tough to tell in Suicide Squad. He was barely written, but we didn't get to see the stuff that I think he did have more depth. But anytime I did, I felt like it was very lackluster from anything from his voice to his look. I didn't feel like it was the Joker. I felt like it was someone playing a character, what the fuck? I can't remember. Characterization of the Joker. Like, they just looked at him like, oh, the Joker's just super fucking crazy. And he is, but if you really read the Joker and you love the Joker, there's more to him that he's just a fucking crazy nut. I've always hated that when people just write the most basic that he's just crazy. There's many levels to that character. I think you had levels with the Jack Nicholson. You obviously had that with Mark Hamill. And you had that with Heath Ledger. So he's coming back. I think Squad 2, he's going to be the villain. That makes the most sense. That's what people have said that should have happened. Even David Ayer said. Gotham City Sirens makes sense as well. But I don't know if I want him in both. And this is not coming from a hating standpoint. This is just from, I would feel like he's going to be the villain in one of them. I don't want him to be the villain in both of them. Maybe I'll have a cameo in one of them. But he can't be in these movies where he just has, like, cameos. You know, like, the biggest thing with Squad is it sounded so, he was such a cliff note, and it's the Joker. He's one of the best villains of all time. I think you need a movie to flesh him out, and maybe that's Gotham City Sirens or Squad 2. I don't think it would be Squad 2. So that's why I would say just take him out of that and just do City Sirens, focus on the relationship. As you can notice, I'm saying he shouldn't be in the Batman because I don't want him in the Batman. I do not see any intensity, any version that I want to see that Joker with Ben Affleck's Batman or whoever the Batman will be. I really dislike his Joker. Like I said, as someone that he's my favorite character. I've read many hours of Joker comics, and I just thought it was kind of like not a disrespect to the character, but like close enough. But that's me. So I am interested because this is not official confirmation, but we have been asking myself and the other podcasters and people online about, like, is he coming back? Because there's words that he was upset with his performance, with the way it was portrayed and how much it was cut, and you could tell he was upset. So we hadn't heard much. This is the first I think we're really hearing of it. It's not a Warner Brothers confirmation, but this is the first we're really hearing from a somewhat trustworthy source that he could be appearing again. So if you're a fan of that, that's great. I'm not. I hope plans change and he doesn't appear. But it is good to hear some sort of confirmation on if he is coming back, because that's been a big question. And he's a big character. Whether I like him or not, he's going to appear. Hopefully Flashpoint happens and they change actors, or they just change him up, or he gets fucking See, he has the word damage tattoo on his head. Greg, I cannot get past it. He has the word damage. That is... Ugh. And it's not just because a tattoo, it's just like, it's so on the nose, it just feels like the people looked at it and it's like, I know what the Joker is. Go to Suicide Squad if you've never listened to it. I go into like a good 10-minute rant. The boys let me do that. So, let me just look in here. Oh, Greg says we're not friends anymore. Well, you know what? I bid you farewell. No, I get what you're saying. As long as Suicide Squad 2 is low danger, simple and unique, I'll be happy with that, because they are at least learning from the fans. And that's the thing I do think Warner Brothers is. They are learning. I think Squad was a big mistake to have a world-ending situation. Joker is a smaller situation, so that makes sense. Let's see. Greg said he didn't like the look, just the attitude. Fair enough. So... yeah, that's lots of news today about the Joker. I'm excited to see if it's actually going to pan out or not, because the Joker origin story to me does just sound like something that is talked about, but maybe not going to happen. Like I said, let me know in the comments what you guys think about it, because it's an interesting time for Warner Brothers, and I think they're going to want to take a lot more risks than usual, and... I'm ready. I'm ready for them to take risks, like doing that Joker origin story and whatnot. I'm ready to see what they can do. That's a good way of distinguishing themselves from Marvel, is doing little stuff like that, doing little differences that set them apart. Of like, oh, they have cinematic universe, we have that, but we also have these cool one-off what if like spin-off tales, like solo tales. So thank you guys very much for the live chat. That was great to have some conversation. Check out a lot of our stuff. We have a Defenders review that just came out, 2-hour plus review, me and Dylan breaking down everything. They got a Death Note review coming up on GeekVerse. This Saturday is a 6-way title match for my Gauntlet title. I'm the longest reigning GeekVerse Gauntlet champion. I've not lost a single defense. I'm 2-0. No one else has defended it. I'm gonna fucking hopefully wipe the floor with them. Kyle's putting me in a match against 5 other people. That's kind of ridiculous, but it's just because they can't beat me. But you know what? You can't beat the best. So thank you very much for tuning in. Like I said, again, let me know what you think about all that. If you want Jared Leto back, if you want these solo movies, if you want a Joker origin movie. I'm not sure when you'll hear from me next, but it won't be boring. Thank you very much.